Shalom. My name is Tal Spinrad, and I just wanted to present to you a very short video to very warmly invite you to a Zoom session that we're going to have about stigma on the 16th of February, Thursday, 7 o'clock Auckland time. And there'll be all the information and the contact stuff and how you can register and all that sort of stuff in the contents of this after the video. Nevertheless, I just wanted to invite you and tell you a little bit about this. As I said, my name's Tal Spinrad, and I am the manager of the Kulanu Project. And this is our studios, which is in my home in Melbourne. That got a lot of use for Zoom sessions during the lockdowns, but now we use it to create videos for awareness and educational support purposes. The Kulanu Project is a wing of the United Jewish Education Board here in Melbourne, and basically what we are is the wing of UJEB that pertains to divergent communities, disabilities, inclusion, autism, and we work in the specialist schools with kids with disabilities, doing musical sessions, and we also do educational awareness programming for communities. And I've been lucky enough to have this opportunity to have one of these sessions with you folks in New Zealand. As part of my work here, I work with a lot of families both in the religious and secular communities in Melbourne. And one of the things, unfortunately, that is still prevalent even here in 2023, got it right, 2023, is how much that there is a stigma attached to being a member of a divergent community. Specifically right now we're talking about if you have a disability or if you are on the autism spectrum, any type of neurodiversity. And you would not think in modern times that there would be a stigma attached, but yet there is. And unfortunately what the stigma does is put families in the position that they're reluctant to be public about any condition that a family might have. It might reflect badly on their family and the standing in the community, and there still is a ton of stigma attached. And unfortunately, the end result of that stigma is that a lot of families actually closet family members and hide them away from the community, which is isolating, which is terrible, which is a great tragedy to happen at any time, especially now when we should know better. And it prevents not only the feeling of community for these families and isolates them, but it also inhibits any help that they can get, either support help or medical help or psychological help. Any type of help gets really inhibited by this stigma. Now, one of the things that we do is we have found that there is underlying causes and foundations of these stigmas that lie in ancient narratives from across the board from almost every tradition, Muslim, Jewish, and Christian, First Nations people, any possible tradition you have, from original narratives. Sometimes, even if the narratives are incredibly inclusive, and a lot of them are, the way that they have been retold, or the way that they have been interpreted, has either intentionally, from people who have an agenda, or unintentionally had unintended consequences that it has created a stigma against people. Let me give you an example. And this is an example from fairly recently in Australia. The former Prime Minister Morrison, when asked at a press conference by a mom who had a child with disabilities about how they were supposed to maneuver the funding systems and how it was slow and all this sort of stuff. But the question was put, how can we get help for our child? And the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, answered, and I absolutely positively believe that he was indeed trying to be helpful and trying to be comforting. But this is what he said. He said, "My wife and myself do not have children with disabilities. We have been blessed to have all healthy children." Or he might have said, "We have been blessed not to have children with disabilities." Now I know he was trying to do the right thing. But this is, even if he intended to do the right thing, this is what the takeaway is. He has been blessed to have healthy children. So the other side of the coin, this woman has not been blessed by God, and therefore she has a child or children with disabilities. That's a stigma. That's the type of thing that we will be taking a look at. We will be taking a look at Bible texts, traditional stories about where they came from. This is going to be an interactive session. We will be taking a look at a lot of stuff, and some of it is challenging. It's there to challenge our preconceptions about how text is and what we have always thought that people might be taking away from it. But I can guarantee you one thing. It is one of my major priorities, and it is my job to create a safe, nurturing environment where everyone can take part and everyone can feel safe in doing so. So I invite you all to join us on the 16th of February, Thursday night, 7 o'clock, local time, in your part of the woods. It will be interesting. It will be dynamic. You'll have a lot to talk about. I welcome feedback. And if you happen to have any things that you would like to put on the agenda that we talk about, please contact us. We'd be happy to do it. And any information you need, you can get from Rihanna Shaw, the very intelligent, captivating, engaging event coordinator for this. And I'd like to thank you in advance for the opportunity to be joining your wonderful community in this evening of sharing insights, yours as some of mine. And until then, be well and be happy. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. Shalom.